The broadcast of the regular meeting of the Budget Committee will now begin.
Good evening. My name is Lene Palmisano. I'm the chair of our Budget Committee, and I'm going to call this meeting for Tuesday, July 14th to order. Before we proceed, I will note for the record that this meeting has remote participation by council members and city staff, as authorized under provisions of Minnesota Open Meeting Law, Section 13D.021, due to the declared state of local public health emergency. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to please call to verify the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Reich.
Present.
Gordon.
Here.
Cunningham.
Present.
Ellison.
Present.
Goodman.
Present.
Jenkins.
Here.
Kano.
Here.
Bender.
Here.
Schrader.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Fletcher.
Here.
Chair Palmisano.
Present.
There are 12 members present.
Thank you. Please let the record reflect that we have a quorum. Colleagues, we have one item on the agenda this evening, and that is to conduct a public hearing on the proposed revision to the 2020 budget presented by Mayor Fry this past Thursday, July 9th. A copy of that proposal is posted in our legislative information system, and it's available for public access from the city's website. Access is also available from the agenda for this meeting, which is also posted and available to the public. As the mayor noted, his revised budget proposal seeks to reduce the city's operating budget in the face of multiple overlapping and continuing emergencies. Those challenges began with the global health pandemic caused by the novel coronavirus. Today marks the 120th day that our city has been operating under a declared local health emergency. This pandemic has required difficult choices that have negatively impacted global, national, state, and local economies, resulting in record levels of unemployment claims, job loss, and shuttering of businesses, and more. And then our community was rocked by the murder of George Floyd at the hands of 4 former police officers. Indeed, as Vice President Jenkins has reminded us, the world is watching us in this unprecedented moment. The revised budget cannot address the scope of those challenges, but it is a step, an important step, that we must take in balancing the progress of our city as we move through this extraordinary period in our city's history. So, our adopted 2020 budget totaled $1.62 billion. Through a series of immediate actions, we've been able to capture approximately $58 million to address the budget shortfalls that have resulted from challenges that I've named. The proposed revision is expected to capture an additional $98 million that will further offset the projected financial gap. Combined, those efforts will save us nearly $156 million. However, as our financial team has said repeatedly, these are stopgap measures. They are intended to get the city through the rest of the current fiscal year and the immediate crisis before us. We will, of course, need to carry forward these efforts as we prepare to consider the city's budget plan for 2021 and future years. Tonight's hearing, however, is focused on the rest of our current fiscal year, the 5 months left in 2020. Before we proceed, I'd like to welcome any introductory comments from the mayor. Then I will ask our budget director, Micah Intermill, to frame the hearing for us by briefly summarizing the proposed revision to the 2020 budget. Mayor Fry, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair Palmisano. Thank you for your involvement in this particular budget process, along with Council President Bender and Council Vice President Jenkins. Having that collaboration with the City Council to come up with this budget and to also make some very difficult decisions was really critical in getting to where we are right now. And thank you to the entire council for their attention to this very important work and involvement with this budget process to this point. Your perspectives have been indispensable in the shaping of this revised budget and guiding some of the really difficult decisions for the sake of our city and the integrity of local government. So the task before you and what we will be hearing from community members about today are modifications to the 2020 budget to account for major losses in revenue. And as Chair Palmisano mentioned just a second ago, this revision is focused on shoring up the budget to account for the $156 million shortfall. Major policy changes, including changes to departments and core services, require more time and attention to ensure that they are done both efficiently and effectively. I want to note that we understand there are a number of competing priorities outstanding in our city, including rapid growth of encampments. And we will continue responding to those issues in separate but parallel tracks. And I want to note that we are in the process right now of allocating CARES funding to this effort. My office is currently working on the 2021 budget. So this is kind of having a simultaneous process here. And through that budget, which will be presented later this summer, and that will present us all an opportunity to work through the high-level policy decisions with appropriate care. So with that, I want to thank everyone who is here to participate in this process. We appreciate you and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'll recognize Mr. Intermill for the staff presentation, and after that, we'll open the floor to public comments. Director Intermill.
Chair Palmisano, Council President Bender, Mayor Fry, and members of the committee. I am Micah Intermill, the city's budget director. Thank you for inviting me to provide an overview of the city's 2020 revised budget. Next slide, please. As the mayor and Chair Palmisano have both mentioned, the city faces a projected revenue shortfall for 2020 of about $156 million caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. This slide shows where and how much those revenue losses are felt across various city funds. Next slide, please. This body took action last month to implement a first phase of budget cuts, administrative implementation of a series of cost containment measures proposed by the mayor and endorsed by the council as early as late March. Those measures included a hiring freeze with a waiver review process to allow for the filling of only the most critical positions at this time, a partial wage freeze, delaying or deferring investments in the city's IT infrastructure and fleet of vehicles, a freeze on non-essential discretionary expenses, and an across-the-board reduction of budgets for professional services contracts. These efforts reduced the city's budget by $58 million in 2020. Next slide, please. And last week, the mayor presented his recommendation for solving the remaining $98 million revenue shortfall. That recommendation includes debt financing some of the city's infrastructure improvement projects, which had previously been budgeted for as cash expenditures, reducing one-time programmatic expense, both related to the city's capital programming and operating expenses, reducing payroll expense by way of implementing voluntary budgetary leave, mandatory furloughs and layoffs where necessary, and utilizing accumulated cash reserves where prudent. As I mentioned on Friday, once this set of recommended actions, including any balanced amendments this committee sees fit to make, is adopted, the city will be ready to shift our focus to the 2021 budget, which will present its own set of complexities. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have or step aside so that we may hear from our fellow Minneapolitans.
Thank you, Mr. Intermill. We will now proceed to the public hearing. We will be accepting comments from speakers in the order they are registered. Registration is available from the city's website. The clerks have assembled the speaker registration list for me, and we will be calling on individuals to comment in that order. In the meantime, could you please make sure your lines stay muted so we can all hear as clearly as possible. When your name is called, just press *6 to unmute your phone and make your comments. Each speaker will have a total of 2 minutes, and we will be tracking time so that we can help speakers stay within that time limit. If you wish to speak as part of this hearing and did not register prior to this meeting, I invite you to register now. The online registration form is posted to the city's website, which is minneapolismn.gov/participation/council, which is displayed on the screen shortly. If we could have that slide up on the screen so that people in broadcast mode could see. It's minneapolismn.gov/participation/council. For those who wish to add their comments to the public record, but who do not wish to speak at this hearing, you may send your comments by email to councilcomment@ at minneapolismn.gov, and they will be incorporated into the record for this hearing. With that, we're ready to open the public hearing. I will ask staff to call speakers in order, beginning with the first registered.
The first caller is Steve Kramer. Steve Kramer, please press *6.
Mr. Kramer, go ahead. Mr. Kramer, we can't hear you.
The next caller is Tony Arts. Tony Arts, please press *6.
Hello.
Hi, thank you. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you, Council President, Chair Palmisano, Mayor Fry, and council members. I wanted to come to speak today to echo a demand for $45 million to be cut from the MPD budget as the 2020 revised budget is being considered. As the presentation outlined and as was spoken earlier, the conditions and the current various crises that are in Minneapolis are critical, and there are many urgent needs. I wanted to first just say, we know that last fall the council extended, a lot of language around when we can see funding alternatives happen and when political viability could be present. And the intersections of all the things happening right now, it feels like we really need to go forward and divest and pull more money from MPD to help place it in places where services and programs can better suit folks in Minneapolis and help improve conditions. I think this is something that could also be done to not see workers being furloughed through city departments. And it's something that could be done to help address a lot of around the crisis around homes. As was already highlighted, we have many park sanctuaries that have been established in the city, and folks are maintaining those through mutual aid, through contributions, through coordinating and maintaining safety. And those are things that money could be pulled to now to help folks to be safe and have a home. And as well, this is something where we could be pulling money away from police terror tools. Frankly, our city has a canine unit and a mounted patrol. I would like to live in a city where animals aren't being used as a part of services like state violence when mounted patrol and canine unit are deployed.
Thank you, Mr. Arts, for your comments.
Yep.
Your 2 minutes is up, Mr. Arts. I welcome you to submit the rest of your comments to council comment at minneapolismn.gov. Our next speaker will be called on by staff.
The next caller is Nicole Salika. Nicole Salika, press *6.
Ms. Salika, we can't hear you. Nicole, we can't hear you. If you wanted to press *6.
The next caller is Anamarie Prescott. Anamarie Prescott, press *6.
Welcome, Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, if we could ask you to make sure you've pressed *6 to unmute yourself. Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry, we're not hearing her.
We'll move on to Philip Aiken. Philip Aiken, please press *6.
Mr. Johnson, unfortunately, I'm not hearing Philip either.
Philip Aiken, press *6. Sadie Rubin.
Sadie, are you there?
Okay, Madam Chair, I think we're going to switch and go by numbers of people that are in the queue now instead of by the speaker queue, just so we know that these phone numbers are online.
Sure, thank you.
So we go the phone number ending in 1953, the phone number ending in 1953. You press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. If you could state your name for the record. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. My name's Dylan Mulkern, and first of all, thank you for meeting and thank you for having public comments for this because it's very important. And I'm calling my major comment on the proposed budget changes is to take 45 million out of the police budget and reallocate it, particularly in terms of making sure that city workers are not going unpaid, and especially for allocating more money to public housing. I looked, and one of the changes in the budget that I'm especially concerned about is where it removes 225,000 from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which to me does not really make sense given how serious the situation around housing we have. And specifically, there are three aspects of the police that I think would be the most efficient right now that we could really easily stop wasting money in. Most notably in terms of K-9 unit, mounted police, and SWAT and special operations, which do not really add anything to public safety, as well as eliminating the MPD's records requesting communication departments because they're duplicates of the larger, like the city as a whole already has those departments. And finally, to defund public relations and recruitment for the police, seeing as really the public mandate has been to reduce policing. It doesn't make sense to recruit more officers, and I'd say those are so really reallocating that 45 million towards especially public housing. So thank you.
Thank you, Dylan.
The next caller with the phone number ending in 6642. 6642, please press *6 to unmute. Come on. 6642, please press *6 and state your name for the record. The next caller with the phone number ending 4601. 4601, press *6. 4601. Okay. Phone number ending in 8941. A phone number ending in 8941, please plus *6. Oh my God.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, we can hear you. Welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Great. My name is Rachel Robinson, and I also want to join in the call to make more substantial cuts to the Minneapolis Police Department. It's currently $193 million, which is more than 10% of the overall budget. And Mayor Fry's proposal of $50K is insufficient, I think, with the current climate. Hennepin County has declared racism a public health crisis on top of a global pandemic and also amidst a housing crisis. So I think it only makes sense to put funds directly into solving these pressing issues. And I think I would also echo the call for $45 million to be taken from the MPD to better address what's currently happening. And I think I would also add that this is a chance for the council to start correcting how we spend our money and prioritizing what the community says that it wants to prioritize and follow through with what you have promised to do, which is defund the police and fund real restorative preventative resources instead. And making cuts, it only makes sense to defund what is overfunded. So I would also like to emphasize the need for affordable housing, healthcare, mental health resources, and violence prevention over funding, like continuing to fund murderous cops. Yeah, and in conclusion, I guess I want to emphasize like multiple intersecting crises. The emergency budget should reallocate resources to address those and away from the police who only exacerbate those issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Steve Kramer is the next caller. Steve Kramer, press *6.
Mr. Kramer, we can't hear you.
Are you able to hear me, Madam Chair?
Now we are. Welcome.
Okay, very good. Sorry for the earlier confusion. My name is Steve Kramer. I'm President and CEO of Minneapolis Downtown Council. I did submit by email remarks, but I'll just comment on them briefly to keep within the time limit. First, Madam Chair, as you noted, you all are dealing with a confluence of events that no one could have anticipated. So thank you for all that you're dealing with to try to both right size this year's budget as well as look to next year's great challenges. I noted in my comments that part of the reason that's true is that our downtown economy and our general economy have become somewhat dormant due to COVID-19. And we certainly want to work with all of you to reactivate the downtown economy as quickly as possible, although that's going to be a long slog, as I've discussed with many of you, due to the rightful concerns about the impact of COVID-19. But we are seeing what the effects of a slowed economy is on city finances. So hopefully that's a cautionary tale for the future in terms of maintaining vibrancy in downtown. I want to reserve most of my time for commenting on the proposed reductions to the police department budget. Obviously, we are in the middle of and will continue for some time to come an important conversation about public safety strategy, the role of law enforcement and the extent of responsibilities assigned to sworn officers is at the heart of that discussion. And as you know, my organization, along with the Chamber and Greater Minneapolis-BOMA, and many who signed on, published some principles that will guide our discussions with you and others in this debate over coming months as we move forward. But tonight, I would urge you not to make sudden and significant changes to the mayor's recommended revised 2020 MPD budget until and unless concrete alternatives would provide realistic and immediately available alternatives to incident responses by sworn officers have been established. Safety services must be available on a 24/7, 365 basis as incidents requiring an appropriate response occur on that basis. And this request is consistent with our principles, which both support the implementation of complementary safety strategies many of which the business community has funded through DID over many years, as you know, while at the same time asking that full emergency response capacity remain in place during any period of planning or transition.
Mr.
Many of the
Kramer,
compliments.
thank you. Your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
We did
I
receive
did submit
your email.
comments to the
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next caller.
Thank you.
The next phone number ending in 7944. Phone number ending in 7944. Press *6 to unmute and state your name for the record.
Hello?
Hi there, we can hear you.
Perfect. My name is Shelby Thompson. I'm a nurse here in Minneapolis. I've been a citizen of...
Oh, Shelby, it seems we've lost you. Shelby?
Looks like we lost her. The next number is 7130. 7130. Press *6 to unmute and state your name for the record.
Hello?
Hi there, welcome.
Hello, my name is Valentina Adams. I go by Vine. There's an attack on my Black life. The council is trying to continue to pay the police to murder Black and brown people. We don't trust the police to protect us in our community. They are agitators, emotional, and power-driven, and more likely to escalate before they de-escalate, creating crime scenes instead of preventing them. To continue to give them money is signing my death certificate. To continue to give them money is being an accomplice in our people's genocide. We need homes, not assassinators. Defund the police. We need our council to protect the people and defund the police instead of cutting the budgets of those actually helping the people. We need money, not the murdering privilege department who is supposed to serve and protect the people. Why is it a conversation to not give money to a negligent security team who plays God whenever they please? They have failed to serve and protect my community. They continue to be agitators. They continue to live above the law and uphold racist ideologies of an oppressive justice system. MPD have instilled fear in my neighborhood and community. The police does not make me feel safe in my community. My community leaders do. Defund murderers. Don't continue to give them money for military weapons to kill people. To consider not cutting the police, defunding the police, is literally telling us to pick out caskets for ourselves and our children. It's not fair. It's not right. And I'm upset. And y'all need to put y'all money somewhere that is going to help the people, not murder them. Thank you.
Bye, thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
The next phone number is 8011. The phone number ending in 8011. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello?
Hi there, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hi there, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Anita Chikatur, and I live in South Minneapolis, and I'm an educator. Almost every morning, if it's not raining like today, I go for a walk in my neighborhood, and my route usually includes a round around Powderhorn Lake. As you all know, for the past month or so, there have been about 200 to 300 people taking shelter in the park. While there have been sensationalized local news and national news stories about how unsafe these park sanctuaries are, the actual stories that the residents there have been organizing to take care of each other and to keep each other safe the best that they can in the absence of swift action from the city to find everyone their permanent housing. Like many others who've already called in, I'm calling today to support the removal of $45 million immediately from the Minneapolis Police Department budget to spend towards providing homes for everyone and not furloughing city workers, among other measures that I think actually support and nurture a community. Ensuring that all residents in Minneapolis have access to housing keeps me safe, not just in terms of physical safety while I'm walking around my neighborhood, but also safety during a global pandemic where everybody needs to have access to safe shelter so that they can engage in the hygienic practices necessary to keep themselves safe, themselves and others safe and healthy. I think that my safety and my well-being does not depend on police officers criminalizing poverty or terrorizing communities of color. They depend instead on all of us having our basic needs met. Thank you.
Thank you, Annika. Next caller, please.
The next caller is 0517. 0517. Press *6 to unmute and state your name for the record.
We can't hear you yet, 0517. Let's try the next participant.
The next caller is 1059, phone number ending in 1059. Press *6 to unmute.
Hello?
Hi there, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hi there, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Jie Tai. First name is Jieyyi, last name is Cai, and I live in Ward 12. I'm calling to support the demands from community organizers to cut $45 million from the Minneapolis Police Department budget. There are important things, I think, that need funding that would actually serve the people of Minneapolis and would help eliminate the quote-unquote need for a police department. So I'm calling on the City Council to respond to these longstanding community needs and demands and take this step to follow through on their stated commitment to defund MPD. Especially right now in the middle of the pandemic, I think the city needs to ensure that their workers are paid and money taken from the MPD budget can go towards paying them instead of and avoid wage freezes and furloughs and firings. Right now, I'm also particularly concerned about the housing crisis in Minneapolis, which Mayor Frey just alluded to. People need dignified housing and not police harassment, especially right now. During a pandemic, people need homes and running water to social distance and maintain the hygiene necessary to stop the spread of the virus. And I saw how the MPD seized on the protests in the wake of the lynching of George Floyd as an excuse to forcibly displace the people camped on Hiawatha. And they've now been displaced twice since the end of May and are still facing continual threats of evictions and other sanctions. And this vicious cycle will only stop when the city devotes funds to providing housing instead of funding police to harass people and push them around. And in this vein, I'd like to challenge the notion that the police provide any sort of competent response to the daily needs of Minneapolis residents. And I think this budget is a great opportunity for the City Council to reevaluate how it actually responds to the needs of people. And for example, the COPE program, which provides professional and nonviolent response to mental health crises, suffers from underfunding, while the MPD budget continually increases. And so I'd also like to echo what other people pointed out in terms of what can be eliminated from the MPD, such as the PR department, recruitment, the K-9 units, mounted units, SWAT teams, and redundant records department.
Jai, thank you for your comments. Your time is up, so I need to ask you to bring this to a close.
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Next caller, please.
The next caller is a phone number ending in 6040. 6040. Press *6 to unmute and state your name for the record.
Hello?
Hi there, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay, this is Rosie Lowe. I'm also calling to support the demands of community organizers to make a $45 million cut to the MPD's budget and to redirect the funding to city workers, affordable housing, addiction resources, and preventative solutions to violence. Most often when crimes occur, it's because a need is not being met, such as housing, food, access to healthcare, or resources to cope with mental illness and/or addiction. We in no way need an armed officer to show up in every situation. We have seen the horrific consequences of this many times. Adding more money to the MPD's budget has appeared to do virtually nothing to prevent the epidemic that is police brutality or to cultivate safer communities. It's clear that lack of funds is not the problem here, but the system and department as a whole, which has terrorized specifically the Black and Brown communities it claims to protect. There are community-led initiatives that are already happening that need to be backed with funding. I have seen my neighbors rise to the occasion and take care of each other through organized mutual aid and a variety of de-escalation trainings. The efforts have been successful, and I'm confident that we'll only grow with more funding pulled from the police to adequately invest in these measures. We need to direct funds so that everybody living here has their basic needs met, and that is the way forward to a safer city. And money talks. The progressive rhetoric isn't enough. Thank you.
Rosie, thank you for your comments. Next caller, please.
The phone number ending in 5877, 5877, press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello?
Hi there, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Rose Tang and I live in Ward 11. And I'm here today because affordable housing is a critical need for our entire city and we should budget accordingly, even in difficult times. I work at the Metropolitan Consortium of Community Developers and help coordinate the Make Homes Happen Coalition. Members of our coalition have attended numerous budget hearings over the years to stress how important housing is to our entire community. We have asked for new and innovative funding streams to support affordable housing production and preservation and protection of tenants' rights. We've spoken with every city council member and know that your commitment to housing is strong. We are asking you to demonstrate that commitment to housing by protecting housing programs and tenant services from any cuts. I appreciate how much time and effort went into editing the city's budget and that the situation today is not something we could have predicted when this budget was originally passed. Mayor Fry spoke to the goal of making cuts to housing in a way that would preserve essential programs and services to those with the greatest need. However, our unsheltered neighbors at the Powderhorn Sanctuary certainly have the greatest need, and resources to support them and others living in encampments are notably absent from this budget revision. In a time when our entire community's health depends on our ability to stay at home, as racial disparities persist in health, housing, and homelessness, we cannot just run our housing programs with the minimum amount of funding needed. We must continue investing in housing as a critical part of our city's infrastructure. If projects are not moving forward today, that isn't a cost savings. That just means that more homes continue to be needed. Our tenant navigators will need all the resources they can to support renters who will be facing eviction in the very near future. Preservation of affordable housing cannot happen if the city is not prepared to act quickly. And if no NOAA opportunities present themselves this year, then surely additional dollars could be spent addressing the dire housing needs that we can see and know exist in our community. I hope this council can demonstrate that affordable housing continues to be a priority for our city, especially now by protecting the housing budget, but more importantly, by addressing the serious affordable housing shortage in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Next caller, please.
The phone number ending in 0070, 0070, press *6 and state your name for the record.
I'm sorry, we can't hear them, Mr. Johnson.
0070. Still muted. We'll come back to that one. The next number is 1547. Phone number ending in 1547. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is.
Hi, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, great, thanks. I'm calling in because I believe the city budget is the most important document of Minneapolis. The budget shows the people of the city what principles.
Pardon me, could you please just state your name at the beginning? We seem to have missed it.
Yes.
It blipped out.
Oh, of course. My name is Maggie Kennedy, and I live in Ward 10.
Thank you.
I'm calling in because I believe the city budget is the most important document of Minneapolis. The budget shows the people of the city what principles and promises of city officials have been for PR, and what, where, and who our representatives are willing to back up with money. City leadership decides its commitment to its promises to the people of Minneapolis, those who have always been here, those of us here now, and those yet to come in the budget's distribution of resources. In a city that only months ago decided to increase funding to the MPD and has since witnessed the murder of George Floyd at the hands of that same department. In a city that held a historic uprising led by young Black people proclaiming that MPD does not keep Minneapolis safe and demanding divestment from MPD. In a city that sparked nationwide and international protests against the violence of policing and calling for safety programs and funding that centers Black lives and doesn't disregard them. For that city council and mayor to express commitment to public safety, I believe demands a revised budget that seriously divests from MPD. Safety in Minneapolis means immediately cutting $45 million from the police budget, defunding police terror tools, police HR and recruitment. Safety means homes for everyone and paying workers. Hope and expect you choose to back up your promises with this city's budget. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Maggie. Next caller.
The next phone number ending in 0097, 0097, press star 6 and state your name for the record.
Hello?
Hi there, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hi there, we can hear you. Go ahead, please. Hello? I do hear you.
0097, press star 6 again to unmute.
Hello?
We can hear you now. Could you just go ahead, please?
I'm just here listening to both sides of the story, and I'm not here to take sides. Thank you.
Thank you for these comments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hello? Is there a way that we can see if numbers have already been called?
I'll ask the clerk's office that question. Mr. Johnson, is there a way to see what numbers have already perhaps been called?
We'll be going back to numbers that are not crossed off, or else we'll have an open time at the end.
Great, thank you.
The next number ending in 0489. The number ending in 0489, press star 6 and state your name for the record.
Hello?
Hi, we can hear you. Go ahead with your name, please.
My name is Abby Frank Taylor. I'm a resident of Ward 10. I'm calling in today to voice my concern with the revised city budget and to voice my support for the $45 million cut proposed by community organizers to the MPD budget. As a citizen in Minneapolis, I want a city budget that reflects my values of community care and support, and this current budget proposal does not. 1 month ago, 9 members of the city council stood before us and pledged to dismantle the MPD. In this current budget, we see only a $50,000 cut out of $193 million. There's room in the police budget to make significant cuts right now while still being thoughtful about safety. These cuts are urgent, not only to keep your word as city council members, but also to be able to support community members who are struggling with the weight of this pandemic. The current budget makes cuts to city employees and initiatives that support tenants and affordable housing. We have hundreds of people experiencing homelessness living in our parks right now that we as a city have failed to protect and support. By reallocating money from the police to go towards these services, you could do immediate good. Budgets tell a story, and this current revised budget is telling the citizens of Minneapolis that funding police terror is more important than ensuring the safety and security of its citizens. It is continuing to invest in punishment instead of community care and providing infrastructure that would allow our neighbors to find solid ground. I understand that the strain of the city budget is unlike any we've seen before, but the strain on our community members is also important to focus on. And there is space in the city budget to strengthen programs that offer relief and support while cutting back on ones that pose immediate and violent threats like the MPD. The current draft of the budget does not reflect the values that people took to the street advocating for. We do not have time to wait another few months to make cuts to the MPD's budget. We cannot continue to leave our neighbors unsheltered, unemployed, and unprotected, and there's space in this budget to act now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Abby.
The next phone number ending in 3725. The phone number ending in 3725, press star 6. State your name for the record.
Hello, we can't hear you. Could you please press star 6? Oh, we just heard a little snippet there. Could you state your name and go ahead, please?
3725, press star 6 to unmute. Here we go. Go ahead, you're unmuted. We can hear you if you speak up.
For one more time.
There we go. Could you Go ahead, please. Could you start from the beginning? I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson, that line.
We'll go back to that if we can. The phone number ending in 3186. Number ending in 3186. Press *6 to unmute. State your name for the record.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi there, we can. Go ahead.
My name is Erin Thompson. I am a white 65-year-old cisgender woman in South Minneapolis, Ward 11. And I urge you to make history. You need to be supporting the community, the most disenfranchised among us. Housing is absolutely basic for all human beings. Those people in tents in the parks are human beings. We get so used to seeing homeless that we tend to forget. We know that we want to be restructuring the whole Department of Public Safety as we move forward into the new year. Start it now. Show us that you care. Show us that you've been listening. I don't know if you can hear me. I can't tell if you, yeah? Okay. Yes, we urge you to cut, I'm urging you, as so many people tonight, to cut $45 million from the Minneapolis Police Department's budget to spend on things that are so much more urgently needed. Please, we don't need armed police in so many areas that we see them in the city and for so many reasons that we do not need them. Please give those funds instead for housing, mental health, violence prevention, youth programs, and other things that our communities are desperately asking for. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time, Karen.
The next number ending in 4478. 4478. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello, my.
We heard the hello, but then there you go. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kate Sheldon, and I live in the Midtown Phillips neighborhood of Minneapolis. I'm joining others in asking that $45 million of emergency budget cuts be made to the Minneapolis Police Department and that more significant cuts be made in the future. I've gotten to know my neighbors a lot better during the uprising after George Floyd's murder. MPD continually fails my neighborhood and the city as a whole. Last Monday morning, a neighbor was mugged at gunpoint. Cops were called after the incident. Note that they did not prevent the crime, only showed up after to write a report. While writing a report, the officer told my neighbors that Phillips is the worst neighborhood in Minneapolis and called protesters domestic terrorists. My neighbors and I are tired of this casual scorn and violence caused by Minneapolis police. Why would we continue to fund this police department? During this massive health and housing crisis, I'm disgusted that the mayor would propose making any cuts to affordable housing. Fund housing by reallocating money from the Minneapolis Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for weighing in. Next caller.
The phone number ending in 4061. 4061, press *6 to unmute and state your name for the record.
Actually, Mr. Johnson, the phone number that I think was corrected later on is 4601. 4601, are you there? Please press *6. The phone number ending in 4601. All right, sorry. Thanks for trying again, Mr. Johnson. Go ahead with the next one you have in queue.
Just a moment. The number ending in 4032.
Hello?
Hi there. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Great. Hi, I'm Sylvia Ozel. I'm a white transgender resident of Ward 9. I just moved here about a month ago, and I remember that the first week I went to a protest in Powderhorn Park where a majority of the city council promised to defund the MPD, and I felt genuinely thrilled to be in a community where political leaders were taking the demands of its citizens seriously. And in the month that followed, I have lost a lot of that excitement. I've been deeply disappointed in how Mayor Fry and the city council have continued on since then and have failed to follow through on promises to enact justice. I want to follow the lead of Black leaders in the community to support an immediate $45 million cut from the MPD's budget. This emergency budget does not properly address our community's urgent needs. Continuing to fund the police does nothing to keep us safe. It has been clear in the history of the MPD that reform measures, bias training, body cameras, and a Black police chief don't change the very fabric of the institution. We don't need more police. We don't need animals being forced to work for the police department, and we don't need the city spending money on police PR to cleanse their hands of the harm they perpetrate. Our communities already know this, and any allowance, exception, or power that is given to the police has been and will continue to be abused. This budget needs to include a comprehensive plan to ensure affordable housing is guaranteed to all residents. The sanctuary movement in Minneapolis is well aware of the urgent needs of unhoused people in this city. The organizers have made very achievable demands to the mayor and the city council and the health department regarding bare necessities like medical supplies, sanitation services, and harm reduction equipment. And the responses they have gotten are woefully insufficient. You must divest funds away from the police and towards the project of securing permanent housing for those living in Powderhorn and other encampments around the city. I am urging you to follow through on the things that you have said you will do. All of the members of this body, do the right thing, do your job, listen to the marginalized people in your community and fund their movements. I'm not going to say thank you. Do your job.
Thank you, Sylvia. Next caller, please.
The phone number ending in 4032, oh, wait a minute, 4657. The number ending in 4657, press *6 and state your name for the record. *4657. The number ending in 0639. 0639. Press *6. State your name for the record.
Hi.
Hi there, we can hear you. Thank you.
My name is Susie West, and I'm a longtime resident of Minneapolis. And I believe that police spending reflects a sort of exchange that we as citizens make in exchange for community safety. But it has become painfully obvious that this exchange doesn't keep all of us safe. We cannot in good conscience continue to pour so many of our hard-earned taxpayer dollars into the salaries of people who did not protect George Floyd. Our budget needs to reflect our priorities in this moment. Minneapolis is hurting. If police cannot solve the problems at hand, then we need to find another way. Let's create a budget that commits to reducing homelessness, creating new jobs, supporting the unemployed, and nurturing our health. Let's create a Minneapolis now in this moment that listens to its citizens, that takes care of its citizens, and that eliminates obstacles for success for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
The next number ends in 0719. The phone number ending in 0719. Press *6. State your name for the record. Okay. The next number ending in 0482. 0482, press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello there.
Hi there, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hi there. My name is Valentina. One second. So my name is Valentina. I'm here to deliver the same message that I have delivered several times before, but have not had my voice heard on. My message is the City Council, the City of Minneapolis, needs to invest in our communities, not into our police. If you continue to invest in the police rather than our communities, you are saying to all the workers who have fought for the labor laws over the past few years that their rights do not matter. The police do not enforce labor laws. You promised us money for community contracts and new investigators, and now you have completely removed those from this budget. Why continue to pass laws if you're not going to enforce them? Right now, there's 800 folks in tents at Powderhorn today that need housing. Did you hear me? 800. This is a city problem. You are allowing the park board to foot the bill for this. Police are also no help with this. We need mental health services. Again, the police doesn't help with this need. How is $50,000 of a cut any real cut at all for the police department? Is that even the salary of one staff? We need money for domestic violence prevention. Not advising your budget is telling the women that have passed in the last few months that their life does not matter and that domestic violence is not taken serious in the city of Minneapolis. The money needs to be used to start reimagining and actually investing into what community safety could look like. We don't have time to wait. Failure to invest in our communities is what has gotten us to where we are today. Black and brown folks and other POC continue to be at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the city of Minneapolis. It leaves us out and fending for ourselves. It continues the narrative that Minneapolis doesn't care about Black or brown folks and that Minneapolis is anti-Black and not a place for Black or POC people. Not advising our budget shows us that you support the unjust treatment of Black and brown folks in Minneapolis by the hands of officers who are not only sworn to protect and serve us, but are also paid by the same folks that they continue to murder. Thank you.
Thank you, Valentina. Next caller.
The phone number ending in 7333. 7333. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello, could you state your name, please?
Okay. She muted, was unmuted, now muted again. So 7333. Go ahead, state your name for the record. Okay, moving on. The phone number ending in 0624. 0624. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello, this is Jennifer Lindner. Can you guys hear me?
We can. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. I want to thank the council for this opportunity to talk. I live in Ward 7 in Laurel Hill, but I've lived in the Bronx, New York, and Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and used to work as a news application developer for the Chicago Tribune. I've watched social services get starved across the country for 40 years and witnessed the predicted results in rising poverty, crime, and drug use come to pass. I fully support reallocating funds, $45 million immediately, and more significant cuts made later from the MPD budget to social services that have been proven to create real safety and maintain peace and stability over and over again in this country and all over the world. Housing, health, especially mental health, gang violence prevention, education, and addiction treatment services. It's painfully obvious the current police force doesn't keep us safe and in no way prevents violent crimes. For example, the mass shooting at Lake and Hennepin only a few weeks ago. It's clear they're used for situations they're untrained for and only exacerbate when they arise, like mental health and drug-related situations. I'd like to see furloughed city workers get paid, reporting calls routed to 311, and duplicated administrative offices eliminated. It's clear that these measures that help even out the poverty and racist structures in this country that directly generate addiction and crime work because they are working in cities all over the country in programs like Cahoots in Eugene, Oregon, and Common Justice in New York City, and Peace Circles in Rogers Park, Chicago. Community-led efforts to create safety and stability work, and that's why I want to see them funded as fully as the current budget allows by defunding irredeemable MPD. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Next caller, please.
The phone number ending in 1173. 1173, press *6 and state your name for the record. One 1173. The next number ending in 4684. 4684, press *6 and state your name for the record. Okay, the number ending in 2824, phone number ending in 2824, press *6 and state your name for the record. The next number ending in 5862, 5862, press *6 and state your name for the record. All right. The next number ending in 1555, 1555, press *6 and state your name for the record.
Can you hear me?
Hi there, we can. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Anna Kurhajic, and I live in Ward 9. I want to echo the other voices who've spoken out today in opposition to the mayor's proposed budget, which is abysmal. And I speak in favor of a revised budget that prioritizes resources for community and things that make us safer, like jobs, healthcare, housing, support for people who are experiencing violence and addiction. I speak in favor of a budget that defunds the things that harm us, and I'm talking specifically about the Minneapolis Police Department. I support the immediate removal of $45 million from the budget. I was in Powderhorn on June 7th and sat on the Hill and watched 9 of you make the commitment to get rid of the Minneapolis police, and then tuned in when all of you committed to dismantling the police a few days later. This was historic, and I will never forget it. After your announcement, I chatted with people sitting near me in the park, and one of them was an older white man who was sitting alone. He told the rest of us that he was a reformist a few weeks ago. He told us that his partner's son was a cop. He also said that as he listened to the discussions that had been taking place since the murder of George Floyd and saw once again that the police were causing more harm in the community, he said the more he listened, the more he understood that the people who were calling for an end to policing in Minneapolis weren't reactionaries trying to tear down the world. They were visionaries trying to actually make our community safer and build something better. And he said that watching the council take a public stand and make actual change was inspiring him to believe that it was possible. And he laughed and said that even he, an old white guy, a little too stuck in his ways, had had his mind changed. That's the power of what you did. And now you have the opportunity to make good on your claim, and the revised budget is your opportunity to lead. I was in Powderhorn again yesterday walking past the sanctuary tents and was thinking about how when winter comes, living in a tent is not a viable option. Our community members need sustainable housing. The need is real, and the ability to meet it is in our grasp. I support the demands made by Black Visions Collective and Reclaim the Block to divest $45 million from the MPD and begin to build real safety in Minneapolis. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
The phone number ending in 4921, 4921, press *6. State your name for the record.
Hi. Hi. I'm sorry. I'm a little.
Hi there, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, great. This is Peter Zeftel, and I'm also calling in to support the $45 million cut to the police department. I was shocked to read that part of the budget cuts come out of affordable housing, part of the budget cuts come out of tenant services, part of the cuts come out of the youth coordinating board. You know, it just seems pretty backward. I'd like to see the money taken from the police to fund things that really keep us safe, like affordable housing and mental health services, jobs and youth programming. I live fairly close to Powderhorn Park, and I've been buying very basic things, pop, deodorant, diapers for the people that are staying there. And, you know, I'm doing what I can, but that's not, my pockets aren't that deep. I can't house those people, but the city council could. You could be buying some of the empty hotels, you know, as a temporary solution before affordable housing is built. You could be doing a lot of things and wasting money on the police, who try their best, but they can't really keep us safe. The police aren't trained to deal with the homeless, people that are mentally ill. They're not trained to deal with people that are having a drug problem. It's just not, you know, they're trained to violently take people down, and they're good at that. But that's not what the city needs, and that's not what keeps us safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Next caller, please.
The phone number ending in 0246. 0246, press *6. State your name for the record.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sarah Fowler. I live in Ward 1, and I've lived in Minneapolis my whole life. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. I'm calling today to also voice my support for immediately defunding the Minneapolis Police Department by $45 million and reallocating those dollars to help make up our city's budget shortfall and fund our community's urgent needs, including affordable housing, jobs and wages, healthcare, and violence prevention. We should not be cutting the services our city's residents need to live healthy and safe lives, especially during a deadly pandemic. The MPD does not keep us safe. What would reduce crime and keep our city safe for everyone is access to the resources and social services we need to survive and thrive, such as housing, mental health services, and a living wage. The recent murder of George Floyd at the hands of the MPD and the way they attacked peaceful protesters with tear gas and rubber bullets in the days and weeks after are both clear examples that the MPD is not invested in the safety or well-being of our community or its members. It's well past time for a new model of safety. This is an opportunity for the City Council to keep your word to cut MPD's budget and fund our community's urgent needs. We can't wait any longer. There's just too much at stake. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sarah. Next caller, please.
The next number ending in 4024. 4024, press *6. State your name for the record. (4024), you're unmuted. Go ahead. We'll try *6 one more time. 4024. Sorry, the next number is ending in 4041. 4041, press *6. State your name for the record. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, go ahead. I'm sorry, Grant.
Okay, we'll go to the next number ending in 5475. 5475. Press *6 to unmute. Five, 475. The next number ending in 6142. 6142. Press *6. State your name for the record. Six, 142. The next number ending in 2987. 2987. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, we can. Go ahead.
Hi there. My name is Hunter Williams.
Thank you, Hunter.
I am in the Trans Equity Council. And my pronouns are he, him, and his. I need to emphasize that the way this budget funds the Minneapolis Police Department is not fair. It is not appropriate. It does not make any sense. And I don't know why we would continue to fund the police department the way we have as they continue to murder our Black and brown brothers and sisters. I see the Black and brown bodies on the street, it looks as if no one is treating them any better than fish in the water. As I saw that police officer that killed George Floyd staring in the camera and staring at us, and we cannot allow this to continue to happen. We can't do it for one more minute. And if this continues to happen this way, we're going to see people have threatened that the airport is going to see consequences, all kinds of things. You've seen how what kind of uprising has happened because people are not going to take it anymore. We're not going to take it anymore. We'll be watching. We're watching. We have our eyes on you. There have been all kinds of commitments, and Black people continue to be murdered and killed.
Let's go back to this one.
Black, brown, and trans folk need to be invested in. The system is broken and needs to be fixed. I am a Black, deaf, trans person, and I am not supported at all by the Minneapolis Police Department. So thank you for hearing me today, and I hope that you will hear all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Hunter. We appreciate your comments. Next caller, please.
The phone number ending in 2969. 2969. Press *6 to unmute. The phone number ending in 5460. 5460. Press *6
Hi,
to
can you
unmute.
hear me?
Yes.
Hi there. Yes, we can. Go
Hi,
ahead.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go right ahead.
Thank you. My name is Ashley Worth Petrick, and I live in Ward 10. And I'm pretty worried that our voices are not being heard tonight.
And I'm not talking about the technical difficulties. I'm talking about the amount of effort, energy, and time that the community has continuously put into trying to have our voices heard. And then we come and testify and we see that the budget does not reflect what the community is asking. I'm asking you to listen to your constituents. Please do not put our voices over police leaders and police union leaders that don't live in Minneapolis. Please listen to your constituents. I am also asking that you revise the budget to cut $45 million from the Minneapolis Police Department. And we said million, not thousands, because our community needs that money. I want you to know that we see social justice rhetoric being used. We see performances such as on the stage at Powderhorn Park, and we appreciate that to some degree. Obviously, it's better than nothing, but we know that the budget shows your priorities, and the budget is what actually touches and changes our everyday lives. So I need you to rectify the budget and cut $45 million from the police department. I also want to name that the reason that we have to revise the budget is due to a pandemic. So we need to look at what keeps people safe during a pandemic and invest in those resources. If that's the cause to the budget crisis right now, then that speaks to the crisis of our community. So we need to keep budget in housing and community safety. And so I ask that you reallocate funds towards harm reduction and affordable housing and make cuts to the Minneapolis Police Department. I know that I want to see actions that show that you're listening to your constituents, because we have been voicing these demands over and over. And I want to see that your actions are grounded in true community care and not acting from a place of a traumatized relationship between politicians and the abusive Minneapolis Police Department. Please step out of.
Ashley, thank you. Your 2 minutes are up, but we appreciate your comments. Thank you. Next caller, please.
The number ending in 4585. 4585. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Jenna Severson.
Hi, Jenna. We can hear you. Thanks.
Thank you. I feel compelled to speak to support defunding the MPD on this 2020 budget. I wanted to remind council members that they made this promise of May 29th this year to defund the MPD, and today is the first time they can make good on that with their actions. I can see your proposed budget cuts from last week includes cutting 40 jobs from city employees, cutting from Affordable Housing Trust Fund, the Youth Coordinating Board funds, Tenant Legal Fund, HIV Prevention, and the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, but it only takes 0.026% or $50,000 from the MPD budget. I fully support our community's call for taking $45 million out of the MPD's budget on this year's budget, and we can do that safely without incident responses being affected until we figure out a plan to safely do that. If we're going to defund the police, we can defund their terror tools of SWAT teams and canine patrols, which were used in the murder of Isaac Aiden last year in Eagan, Minnesota. We can also take that from their department's own communications and record departments, as they are duplicates of other city departments. As we know, the U of M, public schools, and First Avenue have all committed to not requiring MPD services, so we will also not need funds for those services. We don't need armed police officers responding to traffic stops or noise complaints or misdemeanors. Instead, we should invest in housing, permanent housing for our homeless communities, affordable housing that does not start at Lisa Bender's proposed $850 per month or $900 per month. That is not affordable. We need housing, we need healthcare, we need money for mutual aid networks, youth-led programs, unarmed mental health responders, and violence prevention programs. We need to personally do the work of addressing our own racial bias and listening to our communities that are directly affected by these systems of oppression. Our
Thank
goal
you, Jenna.
is to abolish.
Jenna, I appreciate your comments. Your 2 minutes is up. Thank you. Next caller.
The phone number ending in 0051, 0051, press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello.
Hi there. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Alexis Collins. I'm a member of SATUL. In December, we testified so the police did not get $8 million because the police is not protecting anyone. The police is riding around looking for trouble. Youth not even going to school because when they walk in, they see 2 to 3 people in blue suits, cops waiting on them. The police already have a big budget while they're not even doing anything, while the community is picking up the slack since everything happened a month and a half ago. While my community houses are burning and the firemen's putting out stores, the neighborhood is knocking on people's doors, getting them out, yelling and screaming, telling people that they live there and don't touch it. When people get hurt, police refusing to come out. The money should go to somebody that's going to pit back into the community, somebody that's going to help, not break us down. In the last 2 years, we fought for paid 6 days, $15 an hour, and wage theft. None of our laws have been protected. None of our laws have been helped, and none of us is benefit for it. Thank you.
Alexis, thank you. Next caller, please.
The phone number ending in 1953, 1953, press *6 and state your name for the record. One 1953.
I already gave my comment. I was just listening. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. We do have a number of those for people participating on the broadcast. It is reasonable to think that some portion, in fact, maybe a large portion of the people that we're calling on are really just here to listen tonight. Go ahead with the next participant, Mr. Johnson.
9569. Phone number ending in 9569. Press *6. The next number ending in 1130. 1130. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
My name is Mary Georgievich.
Hi, Mary. Welcome. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Mary Georgievich. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Mary. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. I'm a resident of Ward 2, and I'm an immigration attorney at the Immigrant Law Center in Minnesota. The proposed budget recommends cutting $25,000 from the Immigrant Legal Services budget. I comment tonight to share the positive impact that the city's funding has had on the ability of multiple immigrant legal service providers to work together to assist immigrant residents of Minneapolis. And I encourage you to continue to fully fund these services. The $25,000 proposed cut represents funding that's critical to providing support to immigrant residents of Minneapolis who, even with these funds, will still lack sufficient access to counsel.
Is this all for me?
Investing in immigrant legal services is a critical aspect of creating a more just and equitable city for immigrant and refugee Minneapolisans. First,
Oops, it seems like we might have lost Mary.
can you hear me now?
Now we can. Sorry about that.
I was muted somehow. Sorry. So first, immigrant legal service providers work collaboratively and efficiently to maximize the impact of our city funding and serve city residents. Through these funds, we provide services that prevent family separation through deportation and reduce the emotional trauma, fear, and economic instability that results from deportation of a loved one. We provide increased access to legal information and advice so residents will receive critical support in an environment where the federal government is actively seeking ways to destabilize and disenfranchise immigrant communities. Second, this funding has already been successful in helping Minneapolis residents attain legal services and thrive in our community. These funds have already allowed people to remain with their families instead of facing deportation. For example, due to the efforts of one immigration legal service provider, a Minneapolis resident and refugee who had been erroneously considered a U.S. citizen and faced the possibility of deportation was able to keep his green card and remain in the United States with his family. Other examples of individuals who are able to serve under this project are those who are seeking humanitarian protections, including women who have been victims of sex trafficking and domestic violence, as well as transgender individuals who fear returning to their home countries because of fear of persecution. Third, cutting funds to immigrant legal services will disproportionately hurt the immigrants who are BIPOC. Now more than ever, we must invest in these communities to advance a more racially equitable Minneapolis and Minnesota. The city is emphasized.
Thank you for your comments. Your 2-minute time limit is up, so we have to go to the next caller. Thank you for these comments. Next caller, please.
Thank you.
Phone number ending in 3035. 3035. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Max Fried.
Hi, Max. Go ahead.
Yes. Hello.
Hi there. We can hear you. Go ahead, Mr. Fried.
Thank you. It's Max Friedman. I'm calling to add my voice to the support to cut $45 million the Minneapolis Police Department. I live in South Minneapolis. We live near Powderhorn, just a few blocks away. So the encampment is a very present reality of our lives, and it breaks my heart. I love my neighbors, or at least I aspire to, and the fact that we continue to pour money into an ineffective and frankly evil institution such as the MPD, while residents and human beings live on the streets without housing, I think it's absolutely a moral nightmare. I don't think it's morally justifiable, and I think we have an opportunity with this budget to do something good, just unequivocally good. I support the community leaders who are calling for the $45 million. I think, frankly, you could cut more. You could disarm the police. They don't need guns. They certainly don't need tear gas to terrorize the citizens. They definitely don't need horses and dogs. It seems so obvious, and I want to believe that you have the best interest of Minneapolis at heart, but when I see people on the streets that I know could be housed because we have empty buildings in Minneapolis, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So please, $45 million at the very least. Listen to the community. Keep us safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Max Friedman. Next caller, please.
The phone number ending in 3567. 3567. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Good evening. This is Alana Moore.
Hi, Alana. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, hello. I'm so happy to be here, and I just have to say that all the voices that are calling for a systemic change and a cut to the Minneapolis Police Department, just lifting my spirits right now. I can't even tell you. I'm an artist. I'm an independent artist here. I direct a nonprofit here. I'm an educator. I work with children all over the state, and I'm an organizer. And I know that my work fuels the cultural sector, fuels the Minnesota economy. And every day, the blessing is I get to witness what thrives when it is resourced, and vice versa. And I think this is This issue, city council members, this issue, Mayor Fry, is all about how we reimagine community safety. And I think maybe it's a little scary because we've never been there before, but you have the opportunity and we are here. We're not going to leave you. We're here for you. We're here to do this work together. And so I'm asking you to invest in alternative policing. I'm asking you to invest in community-based violence preventers, professional healers, housing. It's been called out. It's been called out. Education, mental health care, invest in care, not cops. We know that police brutality is a systemic issue and it deserves, therefore, a systemic solution. And I agree with the last caller. This seems so obvious. This $50,000 cut, as I am reading it, to legal support and the youth coordinating board and affordable housing. I mean, that's, I have to say, it's horrible. It doesn't go far enough. The cut that we are looking for, that I'm asking, I'm standing with Reclaiming the Block, Black Visions Collective, Color of Change, all the Black, brown, trans community leaders who are saying $45 million, that's 23% of the budget. It can be done. A caller already listed, maybe two callers, you know, the SWAT teams, the duplicate departments, the PR and the recruitment. We don't need that. You want to make, we can do this. We can do this. Business as usual is adopting the proposal. Terrorism as usual, adopt that proposal. Occasional civil unrest as usual. How many of the council members have been at that gravesite at 38th in Chicago? I hope everyone. You
Alana, I really appreciate your enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm is infectious, Alana. I appreciate your comments. Your time is up and we need to go to the next caller.
Amen, Ashe. Thank you.
Phone number ending in 5928. 5928. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
It's so obvious. I mean, this is about reimagining the community safety.
Hi there, could you start by stating your name? We want to make sure you're talking to us and hear everything you have to say.
5928. Press *6 to unmute. The phone number ending in 2866. 2866. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Nikki Kata.
Hi there, Nikki
Hello.
Kata. Yep, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right, hey there, my name is Nikki Kata. I live in Ward 7. I am also calling in to ask you to move $45 million from the Minneapolis Police Department to fund our community's urgent needs. I am a harm reduction and community health advocate, as well as a Master of Public Health graduate from the University of Minnesota. For too long, this council has invested in a racist, violent, centuries-old institution of policing that has not kept us safe. The over-policing and militarization of police in Minneapolis has created more violence in our communities, not less. For decades, Black organizers have been connecting the dots for all of us between mass incarceration and racist policing here and across the country. One of the first protests I attended as a youth was after a police officer killed Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, and it was held at the 3rd Precinct. That was 6 years ago, and now the 3rd Precinct is torched. This council has been warned countless times and failed to intervene. Now is the time to defund the police. Lastly, I'd like to speak directly to my city council representative, Lisa Goodman. I don't know if you support defunding the police department, but I know that you have also championed women's rights in the past, and I ask you to consider the following. First, one prominent study found that 40% of police officers are also domestic abusers. Second, over the past few weeks, we have witnessed police across the country commit countless crimes against people, including women and including sexual assault against women. Third, have we forgotten that the Minneapolis police, quote unquote, discovered more than 1,700 untested rape kits just last year? I would like you to remember the names Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, and Justine Damond, and how violent policing affects and harms women, queer, and trans people everywhere. I hope that you will all join us in rejecting the mayor's proposed budget and demanding a $45 million cut from the police budget so that we can begin to imagine a safer, more just world for all of us. Thank you.
Nikki Kata, thank you for your comments. Next caller, please.
Phone number ending in 8238. 8238, press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Laura Knuckles. I'm a resident. Hello?
Hi there. Go ahead with your name and your comments, please.
Okay. My name is Laura Knuckles, and before I get started, I want to name a few other names into the record because they're on my mind today. George Floyd, Justine Damon, Thurman Blevins Jr., Jamar Clark, and Terrence Franklin. I want to recognize also the names of those who have been killed by MPD whose names we don't know. I'm joining my neighbors who have eloquently been asking the City Council and the committee to defund the Minneapolis Police Department by $45 million immediately. We need to eliminate the redundancies and overspending of a department that pays killers to kill. Every time violence occurs in Minneapolis, it was not prevented by MPD. Instead, they use their powers and our city's money to terrorize civilians of color. I want to say enough is enough. We need that funding to go toward housing. Our unhoused neighbors are at sharply increased risk of becoming victims of violent crime and property crime, as well as they're at an unacceptably high risk of Minneapolis-sanctioned violence at the hands of MPD. Facing the economic disaster looming over all of our heads, it's time for the city to commit to protect our people. The City Council needs to stop privatizing public housing, start supporting the immediate needs of the people, and build housing for all. I heard the mayor or somebody say in the beginning of the meeting that funding in response to encampments is being pursued on outside tracks. And I want to say that I need housing funding to happen now and out in the open. This is our most urgent priority during the pandemic. And since the Elliott Towers public housing units were sold out from under its residents during the pandemic, I no longer trust the city to manage housing behind closed doors. As the previous caller stated, we need homes, not assassinators. I also can't accept that city workers will be eliminated by this proposed budget while we continue to employ so many police officers with improper use of force on their record. Workers who haven't assaulted civilians should keep their jobs, and I think that's common sense.
Thank you, Laura, for your comments. I appreciate them. That beep meant your 2 minutes is up and we need to move on to the next caller. Go ahead, Grant.
Phone number ending in 8508. 8508, press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, hi, my name is Namisha Nagalia. I'm a resident of Ward 9. Thank you for having this public comment period. You all are being entrusted with leadership in truly extraordinary times, and the core of leadership is listening. This is essential. In these times, we are really undergoing an interrogation of what health and safety looks like. Our community is saying that health and safety is access to social services. It's a police-free community, housing, financial stability, community engagement. Those are the things that create health and safety. There's a local and worldwide call to defund the Minneapolis Police Department due to the widespread recognition that police are only agents of violence and never of safety. In 2015, after Jamar Clark was murdered, I was at the Forest Precinct Police Station Occupation and Outdoor Community Center that was created. And I remember when white supremacists came and shot at multiple people at the occupation. In shock and fear, I asked the police standing with rifles and riot gear on the roof of the precinct to go help us. They laughed at us and they told us that we were getting what we deserved. To me, this isn't an isolated incident. It's an example of how MPD shows up for Black and brown and poor communities every single day with disdain, disregard, harassment, and violence. So the ask and your commitment has been to eventually completely defund the police. Right now, what you're proposing is cutting their budget by $50,000, which is a 0.025% cut of their budget, not even a full percentage point. not even a 1/10 of a percentage point. So that doesn't feel adequate. It doesn't feel responsive. I urge you to cut $45 million from the Minneapolis Police Department rather than cutting much needed youth programs, immigrant services, public housing, and furloughing workers. Show us, please, that you're listening.
Thank you, Demisha. And I just need to say we need to renounce and admonish white supremacy at every turn. Next caller, please.
Phone number ending in 0752. 0752, press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello, this is Byron Richard.
I'm sorry, your name got a little bit garbled there. Could you say your name again and then go ahead with your comments?
Yeah, happy to. Hi, I'm Byron Richard. I'm a white cisgender senior resident of Ward 11, and I'm a business owner. And I'm calling tonight in support of community leaders who want to remove at least $45 million from the Minneapolis Police Department budget. I reject the mayor's proposed budget. I hope you do too. I saw you at Powderhorn Park. I was happy to hear what you said, and I want you to fulfill on it. It's a simple thing to create a budget that really reflects the values of our community. So please support housing for people who need it in the city. Respect for the work that's going on by volunteers and mutual aid groups that deserve your support. You're hearing from an incredible community tonight, full of optimism and knowledge about what we really need. We don't need extortionist bullies. We need people to pull together to take care of each other.
Thank you, Byron.
So good luck. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for these comments, Byron. Go ahead with the next caller, please.
Phone number ending in 3183. 3183, press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is... Oh, wow, this is why everybody asks if you can hear us. Okay, my name is Maggie Kennedy. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs. I'm a resident of Powderhorn in Ward 9 and a mental health therapist. I join in the request to reallocate our budget and more effectively support community safety and well-being by cutting $45 million from the police budget and reallocating it to public and mental health services, addiction resources, and housing. When unsafe situations and crimes occur, it is consistently due to a lack of access to other safe resources, and police are consistently shown to escalate these crises rather than stabilizing them. I call for defunding the K-9 unit, mounted police, and the duplicate departments of public relations and recruitment. Offer early retirement to police in order to save money and shrink the size of the department, particularly since aging police are the ones who respond the least to retraining and reform measures. Do not remove the money from the Housing Trust Fund, CPED programs, Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, or the Tenant Navigator, since attainable housing, community development, immigrant and refugee liaising, and tenant services are important resources in our community now more than ever, especially during a pandemic. We have existing services that help to fill the role of the police at this time, including COPE mental health crisis response teams, but they are severely underfunded and therefore not able to respond to the needs of the community as well as they could with more effective funding, often sending the police when they are not able to respond in a timely and safe manner, which consistently exacerbates the situation rather than stabilizing it. If we spend just a fraction of MPD's budget on housing, we could house everyone in the park sanctuaries. And housing for our unhoused neighbors is essential at this time to prevent the sanctuaries from becoming an ongoing issue for shelter in our extreme seasons. With high heat and humidity of summer last week and winter approaching as ever in Minnesota, we need to think of more appropriate and permanent solutions than tents in parks. We have empty hotels waiting to be filled with unhoused residents and service providers in both city departments and nonprofits who have the knowledge of how to support them in transitional housing. This will reduce the reliance on other community and public health resources as well. The purpose of government is to address the needs of the community beyond the scope that individual community members can achieve. The sanctuaries are currently being successfully supported by mutual aid and community volunteers, but this is unsustainable in the long run.
Hi, Maggie. Thank you so much for these comments. I appreciate them. We will need to give everybody 2 minutes, so I'm going to need to bring your comments to a close and ask for the next caller, please. Thank you.
The phone number ending in 2284, press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello.
Hi there, go ahead.
Hello. Hi, this is Haley Petrie. I use she, her pronouns, and I live in Ward 9, located on Dakota land. And I wanted to express my priorities for the revision of the 2020 city budget. The killing of George Floyd by former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was a horrific loss that is just one of the latest expressions of cruelty and oppression inflicted on this city by the MPD. As is outlined in MPD 150's performance review of the Minneapolis Police Department, the MPD from its inception to today has a long history of violence against marginalized peoples. Reforms have been tried again and again, and however well-meaning, they have been ineffective in eliminating police brutality. It is for this reason that I support cutting at least $45 million from MPD's budget. In particular, I support defunding police terror tools such as special operations, the K-9 unit, and the mounted patrol. And I also support defunding police PR and recruitment. I believe that we should instead fund alternatives to policing, ones that address the systemic inequalities that lead to crime, such as funding for mental health services, affordable housing, and youth programs, as has been said on this call already. As a Powderhorn resident, it is important to me that my neighbors who are currently unhoused and living in the sanctuary at the park not be forgotten. There should be funding provided to meet the immediate needs of those residing in the sanctuary, and additionally, I would like to see the city support immediate housing options such as shelters and hotels, as well as subsidize longer-term solutions. No funds should be cut from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Particularly during a pandemic, everyone should have access to a home. I hope to see this city invest in caring for rather than terrorizing its residents. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments, Haley. The next caller.
Okay, we've made it through our entire list. We're going to start back at the beginning and with people who joined late or we may have missed. So the phone number ending in 0517, phone number ending in 0517, press *6. Phone number ending in 6663. 6663. Press *6. State your name for the record.
My name's Catherine Schaefer. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Catherine. We can hear you.
Great. Hi. So I'm calling because I would like a $45 million cut from MPD's budget and an emergency budget funding our community's urgent needs. I want to see these funds reallocated to avoid wage freezes and furloughs, especially those that would disproportionately affect our most marginalized community members. And I also want them to be allocated to supporting stable housing. I do not support funding for MPD's PR, recruitment, special operations, or other equipment or units used to intimidate our citizens. I saw the way they bullied, beat, and falsely imprisoned citizens enacting their right to protest, and they need to be held accountable for their actions. They deserve their reputation, and the community and collaborative advancement program needs to be defunded immediately. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Who's the next caller?
Phone number ending in 3725. 3725.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. My name is Adam Summers.
I live in Ward 11, Nokomis East to be specific. There's been a lot of talk tonight about cutting the police budget by 45 million, and I won't reiterate because I agree with what everyone's been saying, but I want to take some time to talk about maybe reallocating some of the budget if we're going to be cutting that much. We've been talking a lot about public safety and peace building as well as community building. I think that starts with our neighborhoods and our neighborhood associations. I think we need to take a strong look of the great work these associations and nonprofits are mostly made up of volunteers do, such as fighting for renters' rights, connecting low-income and at-risk individuals for resources such for like food sustainability and access, food shelf and distribution, helping families out with loans and grants, and as well as small businesses with loans and grants, businesses that are owned by our BIPOC brothers and sisters, and just the peace building efforts these associations do. I think we really need to fund them more, or at least not cut any funds from them at this point, because they really bring everyone together. And if we're trying to build a sense of community by defunding the police, I think this is a great way to start. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And we'll take the next caller.
Phone number ending in 4657. 4657. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you. Please state your name and provide your comments.
My name is Justin Hagan. I'm calling from Ward 3 to say that in considering reallocation of funds, I would like a $45 million cut from MPD's budget and emergency budget funding our community's urgent needs. I'd like these funds to be reallocated to avoid wage freezes and furloughs, especially those that disproportionately affect our marginalized community members. I also want them to be allocated to support stable housing. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Phone number ending in 0719. 0719. Press *6 and state your name for the record. The phone number ending in 7333. 7333. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, shout out to the clerk. My name is Sheila Najad and I live in Ward 9. Listening to the mayor and the chief talk to the Charter Commission this afternoon, you'd think that all the Minneapolis police do is play sports with kids and build trust with communities, so I wanted to get that narrative straight. On the back of my arm, about 4 inches above my elbow, there's a strange arrangement of purple scars. That's where, while out as a medic, I was hit with a tear gas canister by a Minneapolis police officer. Seconds after, I saw a young man, no more than 15, doubled over. He had been hit in the chest with a rubber bullet. He couldn't breathe. He walked arms over shoulders between me and the other medic. We took him to a field hospital in what should have been a neighborhood restaurant. I frantically text people in the city saying, please, can you do anything to stop them, stop the police? One of you texted back, I'm here too. They won't stop. 2 or maybe only 1 minute later, I hear cries from the other side of the intersection. Medic! A young woman, no more than 18, had been hit in the throat with a rubber bullet. She couldn't breathe. 4 of us get arms under shoulders, knees, head. She couldn't stand. We carry her to a car that takes her to the hospital. As I turn around, another rain of tear gas surrounds us. I'm gagging, trying to be able to see so that I can run to cleaner air. I can't see. My buddy pours water in my eyes. I can't breathe. My mask is soaked. I take it off. I take off my mask in a pandemic in tear gas because officers of my own city are shooting at the people who have had their hands up. I think about that night every single day. I think about the ocean of police there firing without remorse, with disgust for Black lives. And I remember that when people in Minneapolis call 911, it is those very same officers who show up.
Okay, phone number ending in 6793. 6793. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you. Please state your name and provide your testimony.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm actually not the number you just listed. I'm 0719 and I couldn't mute myself for some reason, or unmute myself.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My apologies. Hi, my name is Julia Hobart and I live in Ward 6. And I'm testifying on behalf of Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity and as a member of the Make Homes Happen Coalition. And at Twin Cities Habitat, we know that home is the foundation for everything else in our lives: education, health, financial success, community. Right now, we see even more clearly that having a safe, stable place to live is critical to health for individuals, families, and communities. As COVID-19 continues to ravage our most vulnerable populations, we know that much of this harm could have been prevented if everyone in our city just had a safe place to live. We had an affordable housing crisis before COVID-19 was even a headline. Rents were steadily increasing, outpacing wages. Our city's population grew faster than the construction of new housing units, and we had one of the worst racial homeownership gaps in the nation. None of that has changed. Just because we have a budget shortfall doesn't mean the need is any less. If anything, it's much worse. We need you as our city council to help shield our communities from this need. Help protect us by funding the programs we need to survive. Please eliminate any cuts to the city's housing programs. The proposed revised budget includes a $750,000 reduction to Minneapolis homes. Twin Cities Habitat is on pace to build and rehab 20 homes with resources from this program, 7 homes in this year alone. That's 20 families who can for the first time own a home, 20 families who have access to the single most effective means of wealth creation, 20 families who can build equity for themselves and their children. The city's unified housing policy pledges to support, quote, improved access to homeownership, especially among low-income residents, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, end quote. Given this goal, and in the face of a 50% homeownership gap between white and Black residents, the city should be increasing funding for homeownership and other housing programs, not cutting their budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Next caller, please.
Phone number ending in 1173. 1173. Press *6 and state your name for the record. Okay, phone number ending in 2824. 2824. The phone number ending in 4024. 4024. You're unmuted, go ahead. Sorry, I guess we're having some technical difficulties. You're unmuted, but we cannot hear you. The next number is 4041. The number ending in 4041.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can.
Hi, I'm going to try again. This is Dylan Fresco. Is that okay?
Go right ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for the work you're doing, and especially thank you for the 9 council members who made that pledge at Powderhorn Park. We're here to hold you to it, and thank you. I live here in South Minneapolis for the last 20 years. I'm in Ward 10 right now. I'm an educator and a theater artist, and as an arts-based educator, teaching artists in the schools, I see the way that we sometimes address quote-unquote misbehavior or behavior issues, and compliance does not work. A focus on compliance is counterproductive and harmful. When there are conflicts and we focus on communication, collaboration, and care, that's when we find communal success. And I believe that our police department is the ultimate compliance department. They make people comply with force. I'm also a theater artist. I'm an actor, and I know that when I put on costumes and I put props in my hand, my intention changes. And so that I know when police don uniforms and riot gear and weaponry like tear gas, which they use, good police officers, quote unquote, good police officers use to terrorize citizens, I know that it's a systemic issue. So I am calling to say that, to add my voice to folks calling for a reduction of $45 million at least in the police budget. Lastly, I want to shout out the one program in Eugene, Oregon, Cahoots, that addresses 20% of 911 calls with only 3% of the police budget. It's not apples to apples, but we could do so much right now if we funded COPE. 3% of the police budget is $6.5 million. Does COPE have that kind of money? Are they getting 911 calls? I know Steve Kramer said we need to have these resources before we start changing. How will we start changing? Lastly, I want to say the idea that we are doing austerity right now, cutting housing when we've got people in a housing crisis, austerity is an abomination. And it's not the kind of swagger I want. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your comments. Next caller.
The number ending in 4041. You're not muted. Go ahead. State your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Danielle Corby.
Hi there, Danielle. Go ahead.
Hi. I ask that you please listen to Black and Brown voices at this time. I stand with our Black and Brown communities because they deserve justice and safety. The Minneapolis Police Department has terrorized our communities of color since its inception and taken innocent lives such as Jamar Clark, Philando Castile, George Floyd, and so many others. We know this won't stop until the MPD is significantly defunded, and I ask you to cut $45 million from the MPD budget. I specifically ask that you defund police PR and recruitment resources and terror tools like rubber bullets, tear gas, and canines. I ask that you instead fund affordable housing, jobs for low-income workers, immigrant and refugee services, mental health services, and youth programs. These are necessary human rights, and our communities are suffering because they're severely underfunded. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Danielle. Go ahead with the next caller, Grant.
The phone number ending in 6311. 6311. Press *6 and state your name for the record.
Hello?
Hi there. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hi there. We can
I'm
hear
glad
you.
you can hear me. My name is Nicole Salika. I live in Ward 9. Right now, out of my window, I can see about 10 businesses that were burned because of the flagrant, irresponsible actions of the Minneapolis Police Department. They failed when they killed an innocent man. They failed when they provoked the riots and literally burned down my community. You can't overstate how much of a failure that is. They need to be cut down entirely to only exactly what is legally required. And I mean 100% of it, all the way down. Yeah, I want you to not fund their current leases on their cars. Let the cars get repoed. Everything needs to be cut. They have failed us. They have failed me. They have failed. You can't go blaming the Charter Commission for not putting it up to the voters if you don't take the action this year to cut them. Let's see. I want to also say that, hey, here's another reason to fund cop cars. In addition to all the animal-based terrorism that they do with the police do with the animals, they also just flagrantly flout our city policies every day with their cop cars. They cop them up. They park them on the sidewalks. They park them on the lawns. They don't give a shit because no one will stop them from parking wherever they damn well please. Stop paying for those cop cars. That's all I have to say.
Nicole, thank you for your comments.
Phone number ending in 0080. 0080. State your name for the record. No, they just left. So we've gone through all the numbers at least twice. We just want to open it up. If anyone wants that we've missed that wants to make a comment, press *6.
Thank you. I'll repeat Grant's question. I will ask if there's anyone on the call for tonight's meeting who's not already addressed this committee that wishes to speak. Go ahead and press *6 on your phone if you would like to speak and haven't had an opportunity to do so. I'll call one more time for any additional speakers for this public hearing. With no further speakers, I will now close this public hearing. I want to thank everyone who's participated in this hearing tonight and everyone who spoke or submitted comments. We appreciate your engagement in this important work, and it helps our community move forward. Before we adjourn, I want to just review the remaining schedule here for this budget revision process. The Budget Committee will next meet this coming Friday, July 17th at 1 p.m. That will be our markup session, and it will be an opportunity for us to receive responses to the information we've requested or answers to questions that have been raised, as well as the chance to bring forward any potential amendments. That markup session will be broadcast and streamed live from the city's website, similar to all of our virtual meetings. We have a second public hearing scheduled next week on July 22nd. That's a Wednesday at 10 a.m. Individuals interested in participating in that hearing may register to speak online using the speaker sign-up form. If there are questions or concerns about our schedule or how to engage in that process, I encourage folks to start by contacting our city clerk's office during regular business hours, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on every weekday at 673-2216. We anticipate final action on this mayor's proposed budget at the full city council meeting on Friday, July 24th, starting at 9:30 a.m. With that, I want to thank my colleagues, our staff, and again, those who have engaged in this process and those who made comments as part of this first public hearing. With that, we've completed our agenda, and without objection, I will declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and good night.